Have you ever found yourself overwhelmed by frustration, or felt your temper flare over something small, like a snide remark or an unexpected setback? In our fast-paced, high-stakes world, it's all too common to find ourselves at the mercy of our emotions. From fleeting irritations to deep-seated anger, emotions often dictate how we respond to life's challenges. But what if there were a way to remain calm, centered, and composed, no matter what life throws your way? Enter Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that offers not only profound wisdom, but practical strategies for maintaining inner peace amidst chaos. Rooted in the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, philosophers who faced their own intense struggles yet remained composed and purposeful, Stoicism provides us with tools that can help us respond to life's ups and downs with serenity. These tools are not merely abstract ideals, but actionable strategies that can be applied to your everyday life. In today's world, it's easy to feel like we're constantly at the mercy of external events and the actions of others. However, Stoicism teaches us that we have control over our reactions, our thoughts, and ultimately, our emotional landscape. The 7 powerful Stoic techniques we'll explore today can transform the way you handle anger, frustration, and any other negative emotion that arises. By the end of this piece, you'll have learned how to implement these Stoic practices to maintain tranquility, develop a calm mindset, and become less affected by the world around you. So, stay tuned, because the strategies we delve into today might just be the key to unlocking a more serene, balanced, and unshakable you. The power of perspective. Reframing your perception of events. Have you ever been upset by something that, in hindsight, seemed trivial? It's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment and react impulsively, but Stoicism teaches us that the way we perceive events is a critical factor in how we experience them emotionally. According to the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This simple yet profound idea suggests that our frustration or anger often stems not from the event itself, but from our interpretation of it. The Stoics believe that we have the power to control our perceptions, and by shifting our perspective, we can transform a potentially upsetting situation into an opportunity for growth and learning. For example, imagine you're caught in traffic and running late for an important meeting. It's easy to get frustrated, but the Stoic perspective would encourage you to see this situation differently. Rather than viewing it as an inconvenience, you could choose to see it as a chance to practice patience, or perhaps even as a reminder that certain things are simply beyond your control. By reframing your perception, you neutralize the emotional charge attached to the event. This practice of perspective shifting is a powerful tool in preventing anger from taking root. Instead of allowing an external event to dictate your emotional state, you take control of your internal response. 2. The dichotomy of control, focusing only on what you can control. One of the most central principles of Stoic philosophy is the dichotomy of control. According to this idea, some things in life are within our control, while others are not. The Stoics teach us to focus only on the things that we can control, and to accept with equanimity those things that lie beyond our influence. This concept is crucial when it comes to managing anger. A common trigger for anger is the sense of powerlessness that arises when we encounter situations beyond our control. Whether it's someone's rude behavior, a delay in plans, or an unexpected change of circumstances, it's easy to feel frustrated when things don't go as we expect or desire. However, the Stoics would remind us that we can't control the actions of others or the flow of events. What we can control, however, is our response to them. By focusing on how we react, by choosing to maintain our calm or to remain unaffected, we reclaim our power. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When we focus on what is within our control, we can let go of the frustration and anger that arises from attempting to control the uncontrollable. This practice helps us maintain serenity, regardless of external circumstances. 3. Practice empathy. Understanding that others' actions aren't about you. Another key Stoic principle involves recognizing that the actions of others are not personal. We often take offense to the behavior of others because we feel it directly impacts us. But the Stoics teach that most of the time, the actions of others are driven by their own thoughts, emotions, and circumstances, not by any desire to hurt or bother us. Seneca, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, advised us to practice empathy and understanding when faced with the actions of others. He wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In other words, we tend to interpret other people's behavior in a way that fits our own narrative, often seeing slights or insults where none were intended. By practicing empathy and trying to understand where the other person is coming from, we can let go of our anger and frustration. Instead of assuming someone is being rude or offensive, we might consider that they are dealing with their own struggles or simply acting out of ignorance. When we approach others with understanding rather than judgment, we free ourselves from the emotional turmoil that often accompanies negative interactions. 4. Emotional detachment, viewing your emotions as separate from you. Stoicism teaches that our emotions are not inherently who we are, they are simply reactions to our thoughts. By learning to detach from our emotions, we gain greater freedom and control over our inner state. The Stoics believed that emotions like anger arise when we identify too strongly with our thoughts and perceptions. By practicing emotional detachment, we can observe our emotions without allowing them to dictate our behavior. Imagine feeling anger rising within you. Rather than letting that emotion control you, you take a step back and view it as an outside observer. This allows you to recognize the emotion for what it is, a fleeting response to a specific situation, and to decide how to act rather than reacting impulsively. Marcus Aurelius exemplified this practice in his meditations, often reminding himself that he was not his thoughts or emotions. He would note, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." By maintaining awareness and detachment, you can prevent your emotions from coloring your perception of the world and respond with clarity and composure. The practice of self-reflection, becoming aware of your triggers. Self-awareness is a key component of Stoic practice. By taking the time to reflect on our daily experiences, we can identify the situations and thoughts that tend to trigger anger and frustration. The more aware we are of our emotional responses, the more control we have over them. Epictetus recommended daily self-reflection as a means of becoming more in tune with our inner world. He suggested that we examine our actions and reactions, asking ourselves whether we responded in line with our values and principles. By reflecting on our emotional responses to various situations, we can begin to recognize patterns and make adjustments to avoid unnecessary anger. For example, if you find that certain people or situations consistently trigger anger within you, take note of them. By becoming aware of your triggers, you can prepare yourself in advance, and when faced with them again, respond with more mindfulness and composure. 6. Embrace impermanence, accepting the transience of life and its challenges. A core tenet of Stoicism is the idea of impermanence, understanding that everything in life is temporary, including our emotions. When we are faced with anger or frustration, it's easy to feel like these emotions will persist indefinitely. However, the Stoics remind us that all things, including our emotional states, come and go. Seneca wrote, "Time heals what reason cannot." By recognizing the transient nature of our emotions, we can learn to ride out difficult moments without giving in to anger or frustration. The power of acceptance. Letting go of resistance to what is finally one of the most powerful Stoic strategies for maintaining calm and composure is the practice of acceptance. Stoicism teaches us that resistance to what is often leads to suffering. When we resist reality, whether it's a delay, a person's behavior, or an unexpected outcome, we create inner turmoil. On the other hand, when we accept things as they are, we reduce our emotional distress. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that life is full of challenges and that accepting them gracefully is the path to peace. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacles we encounter are not things to be avoided or resented, but opportunities to practice resilience and acceptance. By embracing the present moment and accepting things as they are, without resistance or judgment, we can maintain our peace of mind, regardless of what external circumstances arise. Conclusion: mastering serenity with Stoic wisdom. In today's world, it's easy to feel like we're constantly at the mercy of external events and the actions of others. But as we've seen, Stoicism offers us a powerful set of tools to regain control over our emotional responses. By practicing the 7 Stoic secrets to never getting angry or bothered by anyone, we can develop a mindset of tranquility that allows us to navigate life's challenges with poise. These Stoic techniques, perspective shifting, focusing on what we can control, practicing empathy, emotional detachment, self-reflection, embracing impermanence, and accepting what is, are not just abstract ideas. They are practical tools that, when implemented consistently, can transform your emotional landscape and empower you to live a life of calm, resilience, and purpose. So, the next time you find yourself on the brink of frustration or anger, remember the wisdom of the